Hello, this is a video that's going to demonstrate the latest and greatest NRDS camera review desktop app. So I'm on a Windows machine and I'm going to show you some of our super duper awesome features, which include automatic classification models. So here's how you get the classification models to work. So the first thing you do is you install the latest and greatest version, and at the time of this recording, the latest and greatest version is 2.6.8, and by the time you watch this video, it may have improved. So the next thing I want to do is, after I sign in, I'm gonna grab my model. So the way you do that is you come over here to this wheel and go to download. Select the folder where you want to download the model to and save. And it'll take a little bit of time, but the model will download to your local machine. So these are models that we've trained to, TensorFlow models that we've trained to detect certain species. And so over time, you'd be able to add your own model or better train our model, etc., etc. Okay, so let's create a review. So I'm going to click this button, Add Review. I'm going to choose the folder where my photos are. I'm going to select a camera check. And if I don't want to do auto classification, I just create review. If I want to do automatic classification, I'm going to enable my classification. And then I'm going to choose the location of my model. So this is really important that, like, let's say you bury this deep in a folder, you get to where you can see the Mega Detector version 4 and the web model folders, and you get there and you click that folder, because if you don't go deep enough, then it won't work. Click select the folder. Now these right here are the pre-trained classifications that we've already done with the app, and you could actually add other things here. The model will not detect them. However, it will enable you to label things with these classifications. So let's say, for example, I wanted to add trap. I can add trap as an item. And while the model will not label traps, it will enable me to manually label traps and create training data. So now I'm going to click Create Review. And you can see that it says warming up, and it'll take a bit of time and it'll run through your photos. So a word of caution, it is quite slow if you do not have necessary hardware, such as a very current fast GPU and the drivers that you need to run. If you want it to be slow, you can just use your regular computer CPU and it'll go quite slow, but it's pretty cool. So I'm only running it on 9 photos, so it should take about 10 minutes, so it's pretty slow. If you run it with GPU, 9 photos will take about 9 seconds. So I'm going to pause this video right now, and then I'm going to come back after it's done classifying. Okay, you can see my classification is in progress. I get a progress bar with some updates. Okay, after 4 wonderful minutes, it's done classifying. And there's a few things here. You can see if you click on this button, it gives you a readout of what's been classified, and that you can then export. And the idea behind this is that once you correct your classifications, it'll give you some metadata on accuracy. So I'm going to start my review. I'm going to click Start. And it looks the same as it did before, except now I have this filter button. If I select my filter, I can filter by labeled photos. So I can select all photos with labels. And now you will see photos with bounding boxes, which I can now review. So if I click my big magnifying glass, I can now go through the photos and I can review the bounding boxes. I can do my regular species observations, right, where I can click on the species observation, fill out my observation form, and submit my observations to the cloud. But in addition to doing that, I also can edit and create bounding boxes. So the bounding boxes do not go into the cloud currently. It all stays local. So I can go through my photos and I can see, look, this labeled a human, looks good. Oh, but hey, I want to be able to label my traps too. So I can come over here, pick that pencil, draw a bounding box, select trap, save it, move on to the next. Oh, I have another trap I want to label. Select my pencil. And so these bounding boxes and labels will enable us to, say, train another version of the model that can detect traps. And you need a lot of photos to train the model. So like at least 500 photos per specimen. So you can see it's actually pretty good. It labels the cat. Maybe that's a rat, maybe not, I don't know. So you can see it did label this forest bird as a rat, so it's not perfect. So let's say I don't have categories for forest birds, but let's say, for example, I wanted to label that as a seabird. I can change the target. Again, it labeled this bird as a mongoose, so it's not perfect. It's pretty good. Labeled this deer. Okay, so once I'm done with my review, I can click End Review, and it's done. So what happens to all those annotations and those photos? Well, if I come over here to my File Explorer, and I can come over here to where my photos go, you can see right here, it creates a JSON file, and this JSON file gives you the original classification as well as the new classification with the bounding boxes. And so if you want to give us the data to help update the models, you would send us these annotation files along with the photos, and we will happily work on retraining the model. So that's a quick overview of the new functionality of the NRDS camera review app with bounding boxes for classification. Thanks for watching.